Hello and welcome to Modern Odyssey on BronxNet and beyond. I'm Dr. Despina Afentouli. Today we have a special guest on Modern Odyssey, New York State Senator Andrew Gounardes, representing District 26 and serving as a chairman of the Committee on Budget and Revenue. We'll talk about public service, Greek heritage, Hellenic culture, and more. Dear Senator Gounardes, welcome to the all-new BronxNet studios in the South Bronx.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Senator Gounardes, how did you get started in public service, and what do you consider some of your proudest achievements?
Well, you know, I grew up in a family, growing up in a Greek family, being part of a community was always really important. And I think for, in a Greek family, that always often was associated with the church. So I grew up very active in my church community. But also my parents made me think about beyond just the church, beyond just the walls of our house. And we had a responsibility to give back to the broader community. And that impression was always left on me and something that I always thought about as I grew up and as I got older. In fact, as I was getting older, as I was growing up, I thought I wanted to be a priest for a number of years.
Because you have a brother,
I have a brother who graduated, my younger brother who graduated the seminary, but that's how I associated service, was through the priesthood. And then as I got a little bit older after that, in fact, it was another Greek American who inspired me to want to get into government service, and that was the late Senator Paul Sarbanes, who I had the chance to meet when I was like 17 or 18, and I was so taken by his story and impressed and just in awe of what he had accomplished as a Greek American that I knew I wanted to follow in those types of footsteps.
And as a Greek American, you have close ties, as you aforementioned, with the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America and the Greek community. And what does it mean to you to preserve Greek identity in a diverse international environment?
You know, I think that's really a great question because I am fourth generation here. I'm fourth generation Greek American, whereas many of the people I grew up with or the people that are in our community, they're first or second generation. So their connection to their culture is more immediate. So I think about this at a much larger level. How can I, as someone who is so far removed from my Greek immigrant ancestors, still hold on to the culture and use that for good? And so it doesn't mean you have to speak the best Greek. My Greek is not that great. It doesn't mean you have to go to Greece every summer, but it means taking the values that you've been raised with and paying tribute to them and putting them in practice every single day. For me, I try to do that through the notion of philoxenia, which is, I think, a beautiful Greek word, which means the love of strangers. It's a word we use to describe hospitality, but more than that, to people that you don't even know. You owe an obligation to them, regardless of who they are or where they come from or when they came here or what the color of their skin is or what God they pray to. And I really try to practice the politics of philoxenia, as I like to say it. And that in my job, in my role, really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support our fellow human beings, because that's what it's all about.
It's also about the fact that the Hellenic values are also universal, so they can be applied everywhere, right?
That's exactly right, exactly right. And it's been great to kind of go down this path to service, thinking about my Greek values, and then also thinking about the legacy and the history that Greek culture has made on democracy, on government, on law, and following in that tradition is, I think, just really special.
And also, you mentioned before that your background is from Asia Minor, like Greeks from Asia Minor. Mm-hmm. So would you like to share your story?
Sure. My family is actually a little bit all over the place. My one grandfather was from Chios. That's my immediate Greek connection. My other grandfather was from Asia Minor, from Smyrna, right across the channel in Turkey, in modern-day Turkey. But of course, when my great-grandparents left there, Turkey wasn't even a country. And both of my grandmothers on both sides of the family were from Istanbul, Constantinople. So we really, from the entire Greek diaspora at the time in Greece and also Asia Minor. And I think that legacy shapes me as well. And my idea of who is Greek and what does it mean to be Greek is not just limited to being from an island or from a village or from mainland Greece. It's really broader than that.
And Senator Gounardes, you recently proposed a bill to end the system of legacy admissions in higher education. What would be the objective criteria of admissions in higher education?
Great. I'm glad you asked this question because this is a topic of national conversation right now. What does it mean to have a system of college, a system of higher education that is fair for everyone? And for many schools, many private schools, they will give special treatment to the students or the applicants whose parents or grandparents went to the school, which I think strikes at the notion of what's fair. And it's a form of affirmative action for students who have the most privilege. That's deeply and inherently unfair. And I was raised to believe very strongly in that you should be able to succeed on your merits. But when the deck is stacked against you, it's very hard to do that. Or when someone's giving you a boost, it's very hard to do that. So by ending legacy admissions, I think we're going to make the college admissions process more fair for everyone. So that a student who's the first in his family to go to college, a student whose family came here from another country, just like my grandparents, when my great-grandparents came here, could have an equal opportunity to get a world-class education. And that's really what it should be about.
We're taking a quick break. We will have more Modern Odyssey after this.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Or how did I get here?
Done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about poor Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug, you know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for you. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it? Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Welcome back. We are here with New York State Senator Andrew Gounardes. Senator Gounardes, acknowledging the importance of good driving behavior, you recently sponsored a bill for drivers. Please tell us more about this bill and what should be done with pedestrians who jaywalk, endangering their own lives, but also the lives of others.
Keeping people safe on our streets is an issue of deep importance to me. It's also personal. My grandmother lost her daughter when she was 12 years old to a car crash. So my own family has been affected by a loss from a traffic crash. Everyone has a responsibility on the road to travel roads safely. That means if you are a pedestrian, you need to look where you're going. You need to not walk while you're distracted. If you're a cyclist, you need to follow traffic laws. And even when you're a driver, you have a bigger responsibility, I think, when you're a driver, because you are operating a machine that weighs 2 tons, 3 tons, 4 tons. And these machines have the ability to take someone's life away. We see it happening on our streets all the time. So while everyone has responsibility to be safe, I think if you have the privilege of driving, you bear a little bit more responsibility to make sure you're doing so safely. And what we're seeing, unfortunately, is that there is a subset of drivers who continually speed and drive recklessly, putting themselves and other people's lives in danger, other drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, and they are able to continue to do so with very little accountability. So what I proposed is if you get a certain number of speeding tickets in a year, we should require you to put a speed limiter on your vehicle for up to a year to force you to slow down. We're not taking your car away. We're not saying you don't drive anymore if you have to go to school or to work or to whatever. But we're going to literally force you to slow down so that you do drive in a way that is safe and responsible so that you don't put your own life in jeopardy or the lives of anyone else in jeopardy as well.
What do you think it should be done to decrease car accidents? And to what extent do you think that lessons should be taught at schools from a young age so that people would be more responsible in driving?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of things we can be doing. Number one, you mentioned one is education. Training people how to drive in a safer way is really important. 2 years ago, the state legislature passed my bill that the governor signed that reforms the DMV driver's curriculum so that we actually talk about safety a lot more. We talk about pedestrian safety a lot more and cyclist safety a lot more. That goes a long way. We should also be doing this, I think, not just in the context of getting a driver's license, but broadly speaking, we should be teaching people how to travel safely on a bike, when they're walking, crossing the street. We could also think about how our roads are designed. A lot of our roads are designed to encourage speeding. If you think about a broad boulevard, 3 lanes, 4 lanes, 5 lanes with nothing in between, it creates the impression of it being a highway. Highways don't belong in cities, in the middle of our neighborhoods, but a lot of our boulevards and roadways are just that. And so we have to really think about how we design our roads, how we change our roads to encourage slower driving, safer driving, which is really what it's about. Thinking about where people tend to get hit the most. They're at intersections when cars are trying to turn. How do we design a safer intersection? And then think about enforcement. For the people that are continuing to drive recklessly, speeding recklessly, running through red lights, how do we improve enforcement so that we can actually catch people who are doing the wrong thing while not penalizing people who are doing the right thing?
Yeah. And you've also expressed concerns about the frequency of lockdown mandates in schools and proposed the legislation to address that. Please tell us more about it.
So this is the sad, tragic reality of being a student in the United States of America in the year 2023, is that there is a risk that you can experience a school shooting. This doesn't happen anywhere else in the world but here. How many countless tragedies have we seen where young people have been killed in their classrooms? New York has adopted one of the strongest and strictest, I would say, mandates for lockdown drills in the entire country. We require 4 drills a year, and which I think is excessive. And not only that, but we don't require any standards or any training or any type of accommodations to be made for students who have to experience these drills. And the data has shown us that these drills are very traumatizing because this affects students who are 4 years old up to 16, 18 years old. And how a 5-year-old can process having to simulate being quiet in a room because there's a pretend shooter outside versus how a 17-year-old can process that very differently. But we don't have any requirements about doing it in an age-appropriate way, in a way that is trauma-informed. And again, I don't think 4 drills is actually the right answer. I don't think we make kids safer by scaring them more into preparing that they might get shot at school one day. It's not the way I want to raise my kids. I don't think it's the way a lot of parents want to raise their kids. So we want to change the lockdown drill mandate, have it be at least 1 drill per year, because you should at least be prepared, but also do it in a way that makes sense for kids, which is what my bill is all about.
Did you have any feedback for that?
We've heard from lots of parents and lots of stakeholders, from educators who feel like they've never been told how to do a drill. And so they're being told you have to do 4 drills a year, but no guidance on how to do it. We've heard from parents who don't get noticed when a drill is happening. And so their child will come home from school and say, there was a shooter in school today and it was just a drill, because the kids don't know, the parents don't have any notice. We've heard from students and from families who have students with special needs, psychological needs, emotional needs, physical needs, disabilities, who can't participate in the drills or who take an adverse reaction to these drills. So we've heard a lot of feedback about how the current system is not child-friendly and it's not family-friendly, and it does not actually make anyone safer. It makes you feel safer, but it actually makes you safer. And so based on that feedback, that's why I proposed the bill. We passed it through the state Senate last year. It did not pass in the state assembly, but we're going to try again next year because I think it's a really important thing to talk about. And the other thing is, we should not be normalizing school violence in this way. It is a tragic reality that this is a very American problem. It doesn't mean that we should be forced to accept that reality or be content to accept that reality. And we can change that.
Mm-hmm. A few months ago, Community Media Advocacy Day was celebrated. In your opinion, how important is the preservation of the community media and local voices?
Oh, it's so important. I mean, one thing you learn in politics is that everyone has a story. Everyone has a viewpoint. Everyone has something that motivates them or animates them, or something about their life, something about their family's lives. And I find that community media and local media, whether it's a local newspaper or a local TV station, a local podcast, that unfortunately, in this age of media consolidation and corporate takeovers of media channels, those are the only avenues left to hear those stories. Where else are you going to hear the story about a child who grows up poor in the South Bronx? Or the story about a family trying to struggle in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, or you name it. So I love local and community media for that reason.
And let's talk about the future. Do you have any future plans in politics or generally in life that
what a big question.
Should know about?
I mean, I think my future plans in politics are to do the job as best I can. I'm up for re-election next year. You have to go up before the voters every 2 years in the state legislature. It's the privilege of a lifetime to do this work, and I want to do it as long as my constituents will let me to do it. And in terms of my life, my wife and I just welcomed our second son 3 months ago. So we have our hands full. We have two beautiful boys. And so for me personally, my ambition is just to raise a good, healthy, strong family and to be the best father I can.
That's the best title, I guess, right?
Daddy, daddy, daddy. That's the best thing to hear every day. And it also is a great reminder, for as tough as this job can be and all the pressures you get in this job, my most important job and my most important constituent is at home waiting for me every single day. And that's really important for me to remember.
That's an important aspect of deciding what programs or what issues you deal with in politics as well.
Becoming a parent has definitely shaped how I think about my job and the issues that I think are important to people. That's why I care about the lockdown drills. That's why I care about creating more housing for people so that people can afford to live here. It's why I care about making childcare more affordable, because when you look at why families leave New York, it's because of housing and childcare, the two biggest things. So if we can make a difference there, we can keep families here. People can raise a family here. They can then contribute to this city, contribute to this state. And I think that's the best thing you could hope for. So it's definitely had a positive impact in how I think about my work and the things that I think are worth focusing on.
Mm-hmm. And what is your message to our Greek and international audience watching this interview right now on Modern Odyssey on BronxNet, from New York City to the world?
Well, Yassas, everyone, hello. It's incredibly, I think what's interesting to me is we have such a robust dynamic Greek American community here in New York. Just as many Greeks live in the New York region as they do in Greece. And it's been remarkable to see over the number of years, the relationship between Greece and the community here, I think, has only gotten stronger. And as Greece has gotten out of its economic issues and really gotten on a stronger footing, the linkages between American companies wanting to invest in Greece and Greeks who want to come to the United States to study or to start careers, I think have never been stronger. And I think that's a great thing for us to celebrate. There's always been linkages and relationships between the homeland and here. But I think we're at the height of that relationship right now, and I want to see that continue to grow even stronger. And you're one of those who always participate in the Greek Independence Parade on Fifth Avenue every year. Since I was that big, I used to go to the parade in my Tzoya outfit when I was younger. Not so much anymore, of course, but that's a great tradition, and it's a great reminder as to what makes being Greek so special to us, and it's also a great reminder as to how important our history is, and how important it is to teach that history to the next generation. That's how I learned about it. That's how I want to teach it to my sons. It's important. You can't forget that. And actually, as you said before, the ties between the United States, Greece, and Cyprus are stronger than ever. We are, I think, at a great point. I mean, just look, the United States ambassador to Greece is a Greek American from New York. I mean, what better things could you say about the relationship between Greece and the United States than having one of our own citizens here from New York State represent our country to the country of his father and of his parents. That's a beautiful thing. And we need more stories like that. We need more. Greeks have been very successful in this country. We had a Greek American as vice president. We've had Greek American senators and governors and business leaders and ambassadors. And I think the future can only get bigger and better for our community here. Senator Gounardes, thank you so much for this great discussion. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet and beyond. I'm Dr. Despina Afentouli. Until next time, γεια σας.